Welcome back to the 7th grade Mustache. On today's episode, we'll be speaking about the green grift, as in grifter, as in people using sustainable development as a scam, as a con. People taking advantage of the good nature of people who want to be good custodians for the planet Earth, but that is a con for a lot of these people out here. The issue is that these people, these organizations, hide behind well-designed plans that are executed by reputable organizations that are on the level, staffed with people deemed trustworthy by society.
They use your well intentions to manipulate you.
I want to start by talking about the cashless society and how part of this is a green grift. All right. So let's go back to June 13th, 2017. And there was a news story circulating around Ireland about how the Bank of Ireland in 100 branches would no longer handle cash by the end of 2017. It said that customers would still be able to lodge and withdraw money from self-service machines, but wouldn't be able to take out more than $1,400 of available foreign currency or coin services within these branches. The bank said that just 3% of transactions are currently conducted over the counter. Groups representing older customers are arguing that digital banking leaves a lot of people isolated. And Justin Moran from the Age Action Ireland said, the majority of people aged 65 and over have literally never been online. They're not going to pick up online banking at this point. Many of them want to do their financial business over the counter, and they want to do it with bank staff they know and they trust, with whom they have relationships with. Now, fast forward to July 22nd of this year, 2022. Dublin, Ireland, there's a Reuters story that said Allied Irish Banks, AIBG, on Friday, shelved plans to drop cash services in 70 of its 170 branches after major political backlash against the decision over its likely impact on small businesses and rural communities. The bank, which is 63% owned by the government and is the country's largest mortgage lender, announced the plan on Tuesday, saying the cost of providing cash services was becoming, quote unquote, increasingly unsustainable. That's horseshit right there. You're saying providing cash services is increasingly unsustainable. So you're saying you can't afford to pay bank employees to be tellers and loan officers in a bank that has a 63% share controlled by the government? Get the fuck out of here. That's double speak, dude.
Dude, that's that double talk shit. That's exactly what I was about to say. Because you sit here and say this shit as if it's not sustainable, so it costs too much to use cash.
Check this out.
Yeah.
The bank reversed course after days of sustained criticism from politicians and small business owners, which culminated in Prime Minister Michael Martin calling on the bank to reflect on his decision. Quote unquote, he said, recognizing the customer and public unease that this has caused, AIB, Allied Irish Banks, has decided not to proceed with proposed changes. Check it out. The finance minister, Paschal Donohoe, who is gradually reducing the state's share in the bank, welcomed the move, saying banks have a key role in ensuring appropriate access to retail banking services for all in society, including the vulnerable. So the funny thing about all this, Irish people are known for having a fucking temper. So,
yep. when you say backlash, they mean actual backlash.
No, they what they're saying is there was a shitstorm that was caused behind this, and it was like, listen here, Sonny, I'm not gonna fall for this shite.
Look, I remember the first time you had bitches about this shit years ago. You was like, man, these motherfuckers gotta take cash. I'm like, no, they don't. You're like, yeah, man,
yes,
they gotta take.
They do. It's the law.
There's an actual law that you have to take cash. Well, in this country, hold on, we're not talking about Ireland.
We're talking about the United States.
And there's laws about that. And I the way they get around this kind of shit is that when something becomes normal and more normal, they use it as an excuse. And that's what they try to do is they got so many people that were raised on this new shit. Like literally, when you walk in Walmart, why the fuck are you checking yourself out? Every time I check some shit out, I steal. Just so y'all know.
Dude, like, okay. Funny thing I noticed about Walmart, they have cut the cashiers they have reduced the amount of cashiers by 50%.
At least.
And like they did this like overnight, like it happened within the past 2 months. And there's twice as many self-checkout lanes as there used to be. Okay, there's a couple of things in that, right? And it kind of goes to this whole cashless society thing where the interactions with cashiers have become more and more scarce, and the behavior of people that work as cashiers has become more and more unpleasant. And there's a couple reasons, because they're not being paid a living wage, number one.
Some are just stupid too. Some of these guys are just rude.
People are of the generation where eye contact and good manners is not being taught or required anymore. So that's part of the issue as well. So now you have all these people that are so self-involved that want to DIY their own shopping experience to the point that they, you see, at first it started with bagging. Right? You just bag your own shit. Most grocery stores that have cashiers, they still provide a bagger at the end. And I thank the person ringing me up, and I thank the person that's bagging my groceries. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, if I ever buy enough and like some kid helps me to bring himself to the car, I give him a tip. That's how I came up, getting tips from shit like that. Not that I was bagging groceries, but when I was a kid, that's what you did. Like the motherfucker that would bring the groceries to the car, you would tip that person. But that gets away from that. That gets away from the entire human interaction. And then this is the crazy part. When I step up to do the self-checkout, there's a camera pointing in my face.
Man, Walmart is so, even the computer at Walmart is racist. Like if you move something, you scan it, if you set it down for 1 second, it pops up on the screen, possible theft. And it shows a video of you doing this thing over and over. And I'm like, is that based on melanin? You got like a melanin detector?
Right.
You can tell I'm black.
But how many cameras do you need? So this is something I'm going to start doing because I don't want to be on camera. I'm not giving the consent to be photographed. What I'm going to start doing is I'm going to walk over to the magazines. I'm going to grab a small little Better Homes and Gardens or Reader's Digest palm-sized book. And before I step in front of the camera, I'm just going to put it over the camera. And I'm going to continue to check myself out because I don't give my consent to be on camera. I want to shop here, but I'm not giving you consent to photograph me.
Look, the whole thing, like you're saying, that they use the excuse it's more convenient. It's not more convenient to ring yourself up. It's just the fact that you don't want to pay people to do this shit. You rather pay them to stock shelves and not pay them to check you out. And so we got this technology, which, like you said,
no. Well, when you're saying not pay, you don't want to pay. You're talking about the business owner. You're talking about the corporation.
Yeah. When I say not pay, I'm not referring to the individual. I'm referring to the company. Like you have 17 lanes sitting there, and then you got 15 self-checkouts. You can staff those lanes. You got enough people. And this goes back to the not paying a living wage. Even if you were paying a living wage, you still have enough to accommodate all your customers.
Dude, I make small talk with the women that check out my.
We always have.
But see, that's the thing though. People nowadays, they don't have personality, and so they walk up to some lady ringing them up, and they just staring at them like a robot, or they're staring at their phone. There's no interaction. Now look, I realize that person is doing their job. That's fine, but be nice. Fucking be nice. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing wrong with being nice, man. Anyway, you got to understand, like, the result of cashless banks and what this leads to, because there's stages, right? Consider stage one, there's no money at this bank. You can't walk inside and there's no tellers. I'm like, all right, well, then it's just an ATM. Stage two would be a centralized processing center with humans, probably from a nation where they can pay lower wages, right?
That's frustrating, isn't it? When you call customer service, I'm not racist. I don't care, but you're calling Pakistan or India.
Right.
Like, you mean to tell me that there's no Americans that can do that job?
Correct. Check it out. No, they just don't want to pay them that money. But listen, Stage three is replacing these humans with artificial intelligence, right? And then stage four was full AI of the entire banking experience. So you have minimum workforce, maximum profit divided unequally to those at the top, and all money created out of thin air by those with exclusive power to do so. It's a game that you cannot win.
There's a video circulating on all the social media. I don't know, it's a white guy talking, but he's talking about Schwab.
Klaus Schwab.
Yeah, Klaus Schwab. and Bill Gates. He's like, Klaus Schwab said, you'll own nothing and you'll like it. And he
You own
proceeds to
nothing
talk
and be
about
happy.
and be happy. And he proceeds to talk about Bill Gates buying, which we've talked about, buying up all the farmland. And he's sitting there, and Bill Gates is talking about there'll be another disease or there's scarcity. And me and my brother have reported 3 podcasts ago all these food processing plants that keep catching on fire. This guy's saying all this same stuff.
But here's the thing, though. Like, if you listen to the words that he uses, see, this is real vernacular kung fu. Okay,
yes.
there's a lot of word salad going on here. Okay, words just thrown in, and so. But here's the deal, though. He often says he's concerned with a healthy vaccine market, not public health. So that means that he's concerned with profits. So then what that means is, look at how this person talks about each topic and what he's putting emphasis on. And when those things being profit driven, because this is a person that's driven by profit, not by the well-being of humanity. So now when we're talking about farms, when we talk about farmland, this is a person that is looking to turn a profit on farms.
No. Let's not forget what this show is about, the Green Grift. Because he's hitting you with the idea that these farms are bad. They cause global warming. They cause climate change. So what's going to happen when he starts shutting these motherfuckers down because he feels like it? And then all of a sudden, he's the one creating the scarcity. He's creating scarcity. And everything that he just discussed comes to a reality because he made it so. Not because it happened organically. We had these issues. No. And then, of course, talk about the Schwab thing. There's an actual commercial on the radio up here where they talk about you using your debit card and how much of a green imprint we make from using a debit card.
No. Stop right there.
What?
Stop right there. There is nothing that creates pollution by using cash. Nothing. As a matter of fact, speaking as a person that used to build credit card processing machines, that worked at a small factory that built those,
we worked all. Yep.
I can tell you that it is more pollutive and destructive to the environment to build machines that swipe credit cards that have chip reading tapped contactless devices in them, RFID chip reading devices. So these things, which are created from blood conflict zone, these conflict minerals that are mined in areas that are surrounded by wars that are being fought by boy soldiers, okay, in Africa, where they are basically raping these countries still for these minerals. All right. So you want to tell me all that is actually better for the environment when you want to get coltan, which is used for cell phone chips, and you want to get all this nickel and palladium and all these different rare earth metals to use.
Afghanistan was full of that nickel and other shit.
Hey, let's cut the shit. You got to understand that Elon Musk undid 20 years of electric cars by purchasing almost $1 billion in crypto. Because by doing that, by buying that much crypto, you have to pay for fees, for mining fees. What am I talking about?
Yes.
Cryptocurrency mining fees are the fees that you pay to computer programmers who are doing these mathematical calculations. They're called miners. These miners run these server farms of computers, which consume air conditioning to keep these computers cool, which consumes electricity, okay, which are being used by coal burning power plants. All right, and some are nuclear. But these computers and these computer chips and their components and the consumption of that energy and all of that crypto that he bought completely negated 20 years of electric cars because of the amounts of pollutants that were created by buying all of that cryptocurrency. So let me tell you something. When people talk about how, they want to be green, crypto ain't green, man. Crypto ain't green at all. But people, you got to understand what's going on here. You're being gaslit. You're being gaslit into thinking that you're the wrongdoer, that you're the carbon criminal.
Do as I say, not as I do.
That you are the one to cause for this problem when it's these huge corporations that are the biggest polluters on the planet. That China is the biggest polluter on the planet. And these huge cargo ships, these freighters that travel back and forth across the oceans, generate 100 football fields of toxic fumes that go into the air. But yet you are to blame with your Cash
Transaction.
spending, your cash transactions, and your gas guzzling cars. You're to blame for that. Get the fuck out of here. And you know what? I call bullshit, Mr. Handman. Dude.
Look, they're hustling you, and they're using your own guilt against you. Look, I get it. They're using the same format as they use the same game as at the Catholic Church. Like everything you do is a sin. You're sinful, and then you feel guilty about, man, I'm peeing, but I don't want to touch my dick because I might go to hell. You know, that kind of shit. This is the same template they're using. Like, oh man, you are such a polluter. Like, mind you, your carbon footprint is small as fuck, but the carbon footprint for this Bitcoin shit is huge. They literally have, like, when you drive through Iowa, you see all these windmills. There's literally, this dude bought up all this land, and he has nothing but mine servers. These servers that sit there and do these Bitcoin transactions, and it creates so much heat. Like, what my brother is telling you is that this cryptocurrency is the worst carbon footprint there is, and so it's a hustle. It's the biggest hustle.
But check it out, because what we're getting into really are digital concentration camps. Okay?
Oh, man.
So, but let's talk some more about what is really going on, because there's this article that was published in Fortune magazine August 22nd of this year, 2022. And this article, which is interesting, you can't find it. So I had to use the Wayback Machine to go and find this. This thing was published almost a month ago, and I had to go and use the Wayback Machine. When I went to go look for it on their website, it said this article that you're looking for no longer exists. And I'm like, well, that's interesting. I said, let me go back in time. And I went to the Wayback Machine and I found it. And
this is why print media is so important.
Dude, so it's crazy. So like this article is titled, the name of the article, hang on a second. Let's see. Yeah, here you go. All right. Yeah, so I had to go dig for this piece. I'm like, y'all tripping. So it's like, oh, there must be something in here that important. You don't want people to be, So basically, okay, President Biden just signed the Inflation Reduction Act. Okay?
Yep.
But part of the Inflation Reduction Act is about the green banks. Okay? And I'll tell you. But the article is titled, "This Little Discussed Provision in the Inflation Reduction Act Just Established the World's Largest Green Bank." So, the funny thing about all this is that they slide stuff in there. So on August 16th, President Joe Biden signs the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. And the law contains key provisions to tackle climate change and high health care costs. So this article, it talks about how the American Green Bank Consortium and the Coalition for Green Capital are smaller scale green banks in the U.S. and have generated on average $3.7 billion in private investment $3.70 in private investment for every dollar the bank invested. And this has the potential to revolutionize how clean energy is financed in the U.S. and accelerate the developments of new projects. This will be the largest amount of funds dedicated to public-private investment in clean energy in the world. Other countries, such as Australia or the UK, have seen great success with their respective national green banks. The UK's green bank drove its offshore wind boom, and Australia's green bank, currently the largest in the world, is investing in wind, solar, and hydrogen development. So what you're hearing is the official story. They're telling you about the stuff that's hidden within the Inflation Reduction Act, right? And what the green bank is. So then when you start looking into what the green bank is, okay, so you go to their website, it's the coalition. Yeah, coalitionforgreencapital.com. And what you get is the mission statement. They offered They put up a mission statement / press release on January 14th, 2019. 3 years ago. Before that this whole thing was even created. So they've been working on this for a minute. So I'm like, oh, okay, so they've been working on this for a minute. All right. So then is this related to United Nations Agenda 2030 and Agenda 21? Yes. Yes, it is. So green banks, their mission statement says, will form the core membership of the consortium with a large cast of supporters also invited to join. Developers, investors, service providers, NGO, non-governmental organizations. For those who don't know what an NGO is, these are organizations that have been co-opted by intelligence agencies to do the bidding of governments. All right? Foundations, policymakers, and other actors eager to support and participate in green bank investment will all be engaged through the consortium. The consortium will also play an active role in any federal legislative efforts to commit to the climate crisis. Now, all of that sounds all good and well until the rubber meets the road. And then you start to see how this begins to play out and how they're actually using these things. So think about what you got to do is take this information and see where things connect. The synchronicity of all these things, right?
Yeah. What are they really saying?
But hold on. So check this out. So HUD financing, HUD Homes, HUD financing, and corporate capital, BlackRock, is making use of the low income tax credit and the digital grid all together to create a network of information that controls the flow of money, controls the flow of where the money goes to. And we see, but money is related to housing.
No.
It determines the shape of neighborhoods. So, for example, HUD.
What does HUD stand for?
Hold on a second.
Housing.
Yeah, housing, urban development. Yeah. But here's the thing. So now there's the HUD organization, and what they normally get is like a house that is about $50,000. It normally costs them about $50,000 to get a repossessed home and take it and turn around and sell it, right? But they mark it up to $250,000. So a house that will cost $250,000, they mark up their costs to $250,000. Why are they doing this, and what is it being used for? That money is being divvied up amongst all of the partners and associates that are involved in this process. This is bureaucrats fattening their pockets. All right, there's the greed, there's the grift right there. Okay, so then you have corporate capital such as BlackRock. They did through the pandemic, went and they bought up all these homes that were on the market. Now, the low income tax credit, they utilize that. They use that to get tax credits on these homes that they got. Okay? And so then these homes are being put into this digital grid. What am I talking about? They're putting smart meters in different states, in different cities, in different counties onto these homes. And then when you go to Lowe's, when you go to Best Buy, when you go to Home Depot, and you buy appliances, these new appliances have cameras, they have microphones, they have Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connection to connect them to the internet. So then any data, this connects to big data, people, big data, look it up. This data is now being sold to third-party companies. Now check this out. You buy this toaster, you buy this washer and dryer, you buy this refrigerator that has a camera facing the inside and an iPad on the outside, so you don't have to even open the door. So you can see what's inside. And so then it's paying attention to what you're buying, because there's barcodes and RFID chips on the containers that you're buying and putting in your refrigerator. And then they're keeping track of this because it's connected to the Wi-Fi. There's so much going on. There's a swamp of disgust because this creates a electromagnetic field of low frequency energy in the house. So now it wasn't just the routers you had to turn off at night to stop all this energy being transmitted. You got to turn your phone off. Shit, you got to unplug the refrigerator now because that thing is spying on you and transmitting information and transmitting this EMF wave broadcast from. You have transmitters all in your house now. So like you watch those movies back in the day and you would be like a guy, it'd be like a crime movie and a guy would like tell everybody to be quiet and he would go for look at all the bugs in the lampshades or in the phones before they could say anything discreet. Your home is no longer a safe haven anymore. You can't say anything discreet anywhere anymore because you're being recorded at all times.
Hey, let's talk about there's something that me and you had talked about off the air. Like, suppose you had an idea for a product. Suppose you start working on your product. You can't even communicate your idea to somebody else without your phone recording. Suppose you had the very first idea of a product. Now you speak about it. Well, your phone just picked it up. You got AI. AI may design that shit and get it on the market before you do.
Okay.
AI may...
Okay. So here's the thing. People are like, that can never happen. Hey, dummy.
Oh, my God.
Listen to me. Listen, dummy. The problem is that AI moves 5 times faster than you do. Processing ideas and patterns and thoughts. Okay? So you can't tell me that you know what AI is going to do. They have had to unplug several AI bots that were talking to each other and create their own language. So don't tell me, they're not going to do that. No, that's your lazy zombie mentality. And that's how we got into this fucking situation. But let me continue. Let me continue with the point I'm making here. So then you're in this situation. I'm getting back to this digital concentration camp. So then you're in a situation where, okay, I can go outside. I'm free, I think. I can go outside and I can walk around. I can lay by the pool and I can go on hikes and shit. But I still come back to this house that has microphones in it, okay, that records what I do. All right, so do I have cameras in my house? I'm not the type of guy to put fucking cameras in my house. Do I have cameras on the outside of the house? I'm not the type of guy to put cameras on the outside of my house. But a lot of people do. So then AI can tap into all this. And then it can look at my social media posts. And if I'm not being a good social member of society,
your house snitches on you.
Your house snitches on you. It sends your tweets and your Facebook posts to Thought Central Control, Command Control, and now your ass is being brought up on charges. Or, like the January 6th motherfuckers, your bank accounts have been frozen. Why? Because your lazy ass did not want to get a check in the mail, and you allowed the IRS, you gave them your bank account information. So now the IRS has your bank account information and they're wiring your tax refund to your bank account. They're sending your stay-at-home COVID check. You know what I'm saying? They're already all up in your guts, dude. They're already in your bank account. So listen, they can shut your money off whenever you want, whenever they feel like it. They can shut your money off. Those dudes and white dudes that ran up in the Capitol on January 6th, those motherfuckers right there were Ponzi's. They didn't even realize it because now they going to prison. Their money got shut off. If you try going on a run, you can't go get none out the bank. So this what about the is fact a problem.
You gave them permission.
You gave them permission.
Permission, yes.
But look, but here's the thing though. So then you got through PayPal and Cash App and Venmo, any transaction over $600 is reported to the IRS. So they know what you're doing. And all you dumb motherfuckers out there selling weed and paying with it through Cash App, you fucking dummies.
Apple Pay. Listen, Apple Pay.
Listen to me, man. This is what I'm getting at. Okay, there's a website you should check out. It's called Cash Every Day. and they show you ways to like begin pushing back on an analog level against this digital concentration camp. And so my point I'm making is that use cash whenever possible. Now, what I do is I'll go and I'll get cash out of the, bank, I'm saying, ATM or whatever, to go and do what I need to do. There is no reason why you cannot use cash. I talk to people all the time and they'll just tell me flippantly, I don't carry cash. Why? Are you that worried about being robbed?
Getting robbed. Yeah, say it. That was a thing when we were kids. Remember that? I don't carry cash. Because you didn't want to get robbed. Now it's like, if you do carry cash, you're not getting robbed. Because if
China, the citizens of China did a run on the banks and they got a fucking rude awakening when they got to the bank and they saw there were tanks parked outside the bank. Because their economy is crashing. They will not let them take the money out the bank. What I'm getting at here, what I'm telling you is that, listen, you need to have a steel fireproof box that you can put some cash in it. Some cash, some gold, some weapons, some silver inside this box. Because listen to me, man, you trust banks too much. Everybody trusts banks way too much.
Our whole country was based on the fact that we didn't trust banks. So going back to Andrew Jackson, I get it. He didn't like Indians. He's a piece of shit. But if you paid attention, he was the one who broke up the banks. Abraham Lincoln broke up the bank because they recognized back then these banks had way too much power in this country. Now, fast forward 100 years, these banks run every fucking thing. The shit that they warned us about has actually happened 3 times over. We give these Rothschilds and all this other shit too much control. Look, go back to what you were saying about AI. You were saying some deep shit. And let me tell you about the industry I'm in. And, I'm a labor leader. And we just, you know about my industry was about to have a strike. So one of my jobs is when management does our work. So I'm looking at a spreadsheet, and I'm seeing these comments. And I'm like, hey, man, I'm telling my people, so managers are doing our work. They said, no, it's the AI. So what? So what the AI does, the AI looks at what comments my people made in the past. The AI does the work, and it pulls the appropriate comment that it thinks goes with it. So I'm reading this like, this doesn't make sense. They say, yeah, the AI does that. We have AI doing some of our work right now. I got to fight against that shit. Like literally.
Hey, you want to hear some funny shit? I know this is related though to the cashless society.
Yeah,
yeah. In Atlanta, we have Dragon Con. All right, it's a big convention for like people like
comic books and shit.
Who like everything, who like anything fantasy, action, comic books, cartoons. They go to Dragon Con. It's the little brother to Comic Con in San Diego. Okay, but they have these celebrities that come there and they sign autographs. Those motherfuckers only accept cash. Listen. These celebrities only accept cash for these autographs. Guess how much these autographs are? They're $20 a piece.
Why is that, my brother?
Because they don't want to report that to the IRS.
As taxes, yes. If you want to avoid taxes, 2 ways to avoid taxes. 1, cash, because you can report it how you want. And 2, create all these businesses and do the LLCs thing and the trust. But if you deal in cash, they don't know shit. Cash is the way to keep the government out your business.
If they got 1,000 autographs that day, they just made 20 bands.
Yes. In your pocket. Look, there's so many things that. Let me ask you a question. So, all those transactions, were they green? Yes.
Oh, they were green in more ways than one.
One, yeah, my nigga, that's it. That's the whole this hustle of convenience. They hit you with this word convenience.
You're being gaslit.
Yes, and you run with the shit. And look, one of the conversations we had last time with farm poor and city poor, why do you live in the city? It's for pussy and job. You have access to sex and you have access to jobs. That's all it is. But the thing is, you're not winning. It's a hustle, and they use all these words on you to make you feel guilty. Like, oh man, you go to Starbucks.
Starbucks put out a statement in the UK that they would no longer be accepting cash. Those Brits had a shit fit. So listen, then the Starbucks US I guess the headquarters is like, look, we don't have any plans to eliminate cash. In the UK, they're doing that because they have like some vendors that want to do that. That's on them. That's their country. But it's like here, we accept cash still. So, but they were doing that to test the waters. They did that on purpose.
Yep.
They didn't want to do it in the U.S. They knew, like, hold on, God damn it, I want my coffee and I'm paying cash. You know, they didn't want to piss off any red hat coffee drinkers. You know what I'm saying? The red hats was not going to have that shit. So, but here's the thing, though. They
were trying to get to second base. They're trying to see how far they can get. You know
that's it. They was reaching up the skirt. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get some stinky fingers. So. But they saw it was like, Mr. Jackson, I'm a boy. Like, no.
She ain't going for it.
So, but check this out, though. So, let's talk about eminent domain for a second. Eminent domain refers to the power that the government and the municipalities of a country behold where private properties can be converted to public use following monetary compensation for the use of private land. They can take your shit whenever they want. So,
but it's supposed to be for like building
for public use.
Yes, when you're building an interstate or you're building even a park. But we talked about this. I remember this years ago. This old man, they took his land for a shopping mall, and he did not. He sat there with his gun like, y'all not taking my land for a shopping mall. Now, if you want my land for an interstate, because I fought in World War II, I understand that. I understand that helps everybody. But if you're building a shopping mall, that helps.
That's a corporation.
That's a corporation. That is not helping society. That is feeding the beast.
What happened? How did he win?
Yeah, I don't know if he won, but I know he would shoot at people. He's like, "This is my land. I'm not giving it up." So he's like, "I don't care what y'all give me. I didn't offer to sell my land."
Okay, so this brings me to the story of Rosa Koire. Rosa Koire was an activist that fought and spoke out against Agenda 21 by the United Nations and Agenda 2030. Rosa passed away this year from cancer. Rest in peace. Rosa was a forensic commercial real estate appraiser specializing in eminent domain valuation. A former district branch chief for the California Department of Transportation, her 28-year career in litigation support on land use has culminated in exposing the impacts of sustainable development, that's the United Nations term, on private property rights and individual liberty. In 2005, she was elected to a Citizens Oversight Committee in Santa Rosa, Northern California, to review a proposed 1,300-acre redevelopment project in which 10,000 people live and work. Her research into the documents justifying the plans led her to challenge the fraudulent basis for the huge Gateways redevelopment project. The city, in an attempt to block Koire from exposing the project, removed the neighborhood in which Koire's property was located from the redevelopment area. Koire fought on, however, not wanting to abandon thousands of business and property owners still in the area. She formed a business and property owner association and a nonprofit organization called Concerned Citizens of Santa Rosa Against Redevelopment Law Abuse, and were able to raise nearly $500,000 in donations and pro bono legal work to sue the city of Santa Rosa to stop the project. The court case lost in Superior Court, but the court ruled that they could continue, and they appealed to the San Francisco First District Court of Appeals. There they lost again in 2009. The 3 years of litigation fighting eminent domain and the redevelopment project succeeded in delaying the project while the economy collapsed. The city had failed to implement its plans, but still has the power of eminent domain of over 1,300 acres until 2018. Over the course of a legal challenge, Koire became aware of the source of the planning revolution she had observed over more than 10 years ago. It's the United Nations Agenda 21. Through her research, she found that much of the funding to implement local UN Agenda 21 sustainable development land use programs comes through the diversion of property taxes to redevelopment agencies. I'm going to say this again. The local UN Agenda 21 Sustainable Development Land Use Programs comes through the diverting property taxes to redevelopment agencies. Her work in providing information and solutions for communities fighting UN Agenda 21 has spread across the nation as more and more people become aware of the increased restrictions on their property rights and the methods used to implement social engineering. I'm going to say that again. Her work in providing information and solutions for communities fighting against Agenda 21 has spread across the nation as more and more people become aware of their increased restrictions on their property rights and the methods used to implement social engineering. She is the author of the book Behind the Green Mask. That's a good book. Y'all need to check that out. But this illustrates how a person actually fought and raged against the machine and let them know, like, hey, you're not going to come in here and railroad these people and basically gentrify these white folks. You're going to gentrify these people into something that is more in line with this grand scheme that's created by people in another country. Dude.
Look, basically what they're doing is social eugenics. If we only want this area to be rich and white, we can do that. But we're going to take this area from people who pay their taxes, who own it, and we're going to say that it's manifest destiny. We're going to say and we use these different terms, and we use these terms just to steal. These are terms used to steal people's land and their fucking birthright. That's bullshit. This is no different from taking land from Native Americans and parsing it up, dividing it up into a country of 52 states, 51 states. How many states we got? 50? Whatever. It's bullshit. 50 states.
Right, but this whole thing is about how we need to get more and more control. Because, all right, listen, man, I'm going to tell you like this. This began with people from another place coming to this country and telling the people that were already here, this is my shit
you don't
now.
Matter.
And you gotta go over here. The same thing that those white people did to the indigenous people is now happening to them. See, listen, what you got to understand is, given enough time, that karmic boomerang comes all the way back around and smacks you upside your head and busts your head to the white meat, because this shit is just revisiting itself. It's just the same thing. Listen, history is transposed, all right? Because you can take the oppression of one people and transpose it over the other in the same area, and you get the same thing. But listen, this situation now with Agenda 21 being the long term, right, for the century, and Agenda 2030, don't think that one subsides the other one. No. Agenda 21 is for the first 100 years of this plan. Okay? This is some Chinese shit that by planning by centuries. All right? Agenda 21 is the first 100 years of the 21st century. Okay? And then Agenda 2030 is that check-in point. So, okay, so now by the first 30 years into the 21st century, now these are our goals that we plan to be at. And so then another 30 years, that'll get us down the road to the halfway point, past the halfway point to 2060. And so these people now are setting the plans for Agenda 2060. Because all they got to do is make it to 2030 and get those plans solid and accomplished for 2030, and then they're looking at 2060. So if this is 2030, dude, then what is 2060? If we're going to have all electric cars, all quote-unquote legacy services and systems will be done away with. You will no longer have any property ownership. Everything is surveilled. And I'm like, what is beyond that? What happens beyond that? So that happens then next on within the solar system. And then what, like 30 years past that, it's like further out into the galaxy. Because this sounds like the Empire. This sounds like a slow creep to Darth Vader.
Look, the whole thing is, so we have no physical form. You got to pay taxes, but you exist in the computer. You don't.
No. Then your consciousness is then downloaded into an androgynous, non-binary body.
Yeah, but you don't own your consciousness. How about that part? It doesn't belong to you. That's all a hustle. Look, there's a couple things when it comes to, let's talk about this whole green thing. I'll give you an example of energy wasted. Again, in my industry, the railroad industry, It takes a lot to stop a train, stop an engine, and literally it releases so much energy that they've already said that one engine, if they were able to harness the energy from stopping, like
The kinetic energy.
yeah, you know how in a hybrid, that's how you charge the battery by using your brakes. They said one engine would run Houston, like two or three engines. No, yes, that's how much energy is lost. So if you want green energy, just invent a way to look. There's options for green energy that you can't even imagine. You can't
Right.
fathom.
No. A guy did. He did it, and they killed him. Okay, and his name was Nikola Tesla. And Trump's uncle bust into his apartment when he died and stole all the paperwork.
Yeah,
yes,
that's a true story.
That's not a conspiracy theory. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's a fact.
Trump's uncle actually was part of the FBI.
He was a federal agent and busted there and stole that shit.
Yeah, look that shit up. So you got to understand that literally we have people creating free energy things all the fucking time.
But dude, go back to that for a second, man. Go back to that because you're talking about creating these kinetic energy batteries, right? These kinetic energy
that absorbs
energy. So, okay. This is similar to the conversation that I had with the astrophysicist, and he was telling me how that to use these new type of engines that they're building, they can't be launched in the Earth's orbit because they don't have enough thrust to escape gravity, because none of these new technologies are based on zero gravity. All right, they're relying on this old model that, you know, gravity is the king and this and that, and we're not going to use the alien technology. Okay, fine. We're going to keep the narrative going, keep people suffering, keep controlling people. Fine. So these rockets can only be launched in low Earth orbit, right? Because then it can take you into space. So look up Lunar Gateway. Lunar Gateway is all about building a launching platform around the moon, okay? For landing stuff and launching stuff. But with these new engines, these plasma engines, they can then fly all the way to Mars with low energy. They don't need chemical rockets, and they can get there twice the speed.
Efficient, much more efficient.
Right, let's not extrapolate that, but let's take that and let's nanotize that. Let's bring it down to like a smaller level, all right, to the micro level from the macro level. And so then if you take that and you bring that down to this energy, kinetic energy capture batteries that we could create from these trains, or that technology, and apply it to motion like travel. So you could have a car that can start with a combustion engine, and each time this car comes to a stop, say like from a traffic light, or this like there's about to be an accident and you slam on the brakes, that kinetic energy is then stored in a battery. And so then all you need is the gas-powered engine to start the car. And then after the first 30 minutes is being run off of the kinetic energy. I'm just spitballing here, man. Spaghetti at the wall.
No, hey, there's a Nigerian kid that made an electric car, and I think what he did was he put generators on the wheels. So as you drive the car, it charges the battery. Instead of using that outdated shit where you step on the brake, it charges the battery. So this car does not, once you charge it the first time and start driving, it charges itself for the rest of it. So there are projects out there for perpetual energy in these vehicles. Nobody wants to talk about those because you can't monetize that. This society was designed under Henry Ford and Carnegie and who's the other one? PJ was it Morgan or JP Morgan, whatever. JP Morgan, excuse me. All this shit was done in the 30s to monetize everything. This whole society was designed to make money for a few people, and we literally fall for it every time. World War II was the worst. Most of our society is based on World War II, whether it was technology or dog food or M&Ms. All that shit came out of World War II, and we made that shit the norm. Using a diamond for a wedding ring has only been around like 60 years. But we act like that tradition goes back 100. It doesn't go back that far. All those are marketing ploys. This shit was marketing. And you marketed a certain way, and we fell for that shit, and it became a norm in 1 or 2 generations. This is the shit we're talking about, and it's a way to control you. Look, Energy is everywhere. You don't have to pay for it. We shouldn't have to pay for it. Water is everywhere. We shouldn't have to. Oh, and that's the new thing. Everywhere you go, that water's too dirty to drink. Well, shit, make your own, motherfucker.
Boil it.
Look, but here's the crazy part. Well, again, our brother Dick Gregory broke it down. The best water for you is spring water. The reason spring water is because it goes over these rocks, it goes and has certain nutrients in it. But if you drink water,
not just that, it's been ionized.
Yeah, this is so important. So if you drink water with no nutrients, so you boil some water, you not just boil it, you distill it. So you distill some water. So you steam it and you reconstitute it back in the water and you drink that. So that water has no nutrients. So as that water passes through your body, where do you think it gets its nutrients from? Your body itself.
Okay.
You'll fuck around.
Okay. I want to take this opportunity to have everybody look up Dr. Emoto. Dr. Emoto is a Japanese doctor who studied the nature of water, the molecular nature of water. And what he would do is he was freezing, right? So if you're drinking tap water, whenever you drink any kind of water, I want you to imbue that water with your own positive energy. The same way people pray over their food, pray into your water. Pray powerful, positive energy into your water.
Affirmations,
and
real
then
shit.
Drink that water. Because what you're putting into your body has been transformed by your own consciousness. The same way Christ transformed water into wine.
Yes.
Come on now. Come on.
We having church here, people. Look, what you must understand, water has intelligence. It's been proven. Like literally, if you pour water over a crack, the first time it might not find the crack. But you take that water, it finds the crack, and you run it into a glass. Pour that water over that same thing, it will find its way faster. And each time water gets faster and faster because it finds a way. And so you got to understand, if you drink intelligent water, the older the water you drink, the more it affects you. And people don't get that shit. Another thing, this plastic shit, let's talk about fuck the plastic footprint. Do you know when you drink water out of plastic, it fucks up your body?
So check this out. What I have been doing, I've been consciously, and you and I had this conversation, I have been consciously pouring water that I drink, that I'm going to have in the refrigerator, into a glass container.
Yes, water should be in glass, stored in glass, or stainless steel.
Yes, like a thermos plastic or something, but definitely like a glass pitcher in the refrigerator. Because when we were kids, man, like I thought about it. I'm like, dude, I didn't start drinking out of plastic bottles
until college, man. Because at home we weren't drinking out of plastic bottles. The only time we might drink out of plastic bottles if it was pop. You know what I'm saying? That was it. But the stuff, listen, Kool-Aid will be in the refrigerator a glass pitcher. Okay? You pour it out into a glass cup and you drink it. And even if it's in a plastic cup, it's only in there for about 10 minutes tops. A second.
But where that water is stored was in glass. And then, hold on, wait. And then, in kindergarten, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to the water fountain all the way until I graduated high school. I'm going to a water fountain and I'm drinking water out of copper pipes.
Yeah, people. People don't get this. PVC, that's plastic. We're going backwards, people. Do you realize if you store your water in copper, copper actually purifies the water. It also gives you healing effects. Copper kills COVID. Copper actually kills certain bacteria, but we didn't realize those copper pipes were imbuing our body with that. Again, that was essentially you were making your own mineral water.
Listen, there is nothing toxic about glass. Now we're talking about like for the environment.
I was going there next.
Because if we want to talk about like how green, glass is probably greener than any of them. Period. Because glass is sand. And sand is truly organic. Go ahead. And it breaks down. Go ahead.
Yeah. You should be storing your water in glass. When we were kids, every time
I'm talking about in the landfill.
Water, yeah. Oh, yeah. Glass, it doesn't have this carbon footprint. Oh, my God. Yes, glass is better for you. This plastic, it fucks up erections. It fucks up heart. It fucks up all kinds of shit. But by consuming plastic, I didn't realize that. I've seen white people, they would like have casserole dishes, like when they would go out to eat. I'm like, what the fuck? You know what's wrong with that styrofoam and plastic is fucking up your body. So there are a lot of people that literally bring their own, instead of bringing a doggy bag, they bring their own like container to put the food in and take home. That's a real thing. Well, we don't realize it because, look, just because there ain't no commercial for the shit, just because there ain't no movement, nobody created this movement, is because look, Big Pharma is creating a pill for that shit. So they want to monetize. Everything wants to be monetized. Your water should be in stainless steel or glass. That's how you should store your water. That's how you should transport your water. You should be drinking mineral water, or they have your own water stuff now where you can purify your own shit. But that's what you need to be fucking with, because this water shit is the next big thing. Everywhere you turn, everywhere you listen, oh my God, their water is not worth drinking. Look, these old copper pipes my brother just told you about were saving our lives, and we didn't realize it. So now they replace it with PVC, and this PVC is putting that more plastic in your body. Plastic is a motherfucker. Look, they pollute you at your own home now, and you don't even realize the shit. Look, and they love to use words like pollution and green and all that shit, and then you run to this and it's certified this and certified that. It's the hustle. They're creating this whole socially engineered bullshit. So you think that you're doing a good job, all the while that Bill Gates is doing worse to the planet than you can ever do. That dickhead was literally talking about blotting out the sun, like Mr. Burns on The Simpsons, and we talked about that shit. But stop falling for the bullshit, please. It's so important that
stop letting people gaslight you. Stop letting people make you think that you're says carbon criminal because you are choosing to use cash. See, listen, going back to what I was saying about the digital concentration camp, the whole idea of the digital concentration camp is that you are encased in a maze that monitors you all the time, and you have devices that squeal on you and they inform on you back to these third-party organizations. Now, you can't call it the government. You can't call it the government because what they do is they use contractors. And these contractors are the spies they send out to go and get the information. But they don't need physical people to go out and do this for them anymore. They have devices and they have networks to go out and pull this information. They have these digital passenger pigeons to go and get the information and bring it back to them. So then what they do is these quote-unquote contractors are the ones that go and hand them the information. Whenever the government says, hey, give it to me, they're going to give it to them. They're not going to fight back because they're being paid by the government to do this stuff for them. So that way it takes the onus off the government, because then the government's like, well, I didn't do it. It was just a corporation. Oh, really? Yeah, let's look into the corporation and see who provides the funding for them.
Look, that means the government doesn't need to ask for a warrant. Like, here's how it's supposed to work. If they want your information or your property, they're supposed to get a warrant and go in and get it that way. But if the second, third party does it and the government just owns part of them, or the government is their biggest customer. But check this out.
So then there was this law that was passed recently, and it said 100 miles from the coastline inward, federal agents can go inside your home without a warrant. Okay? They can go into your bank account and get information whenever they want. They don't need a warrant. So then your physical property,
don't matter.
Your finances, your IP on your computer, whenever they want, they can go and get this shit. What we're telling you is that you need to live an increasingly analog life. That's what this show is really about, and how these people are gaslighting you for wanting to live analog, for wanting to shut that phone off and go for a walk and be free.
They're convincing you that you're a nerd, or you're behind, or you're archaic, or you're all these different things.
No. A nerd is an early adopter. A caveman. They're trying to say that you're a caveman. But listen, the cavemen were actually way healthier than a lot of these people. But my point that I'm getting at is that keep some cash in a fireproof metal box along with some pieces of gold. Okay?
Look, the caveman paleo diet. You got people doing the caveman diet. Look, obviously, going backwards is going forward. I know it doesn't sound right, but it really is. Stop letting these people introduce shit that you really don't need and convince you that this will make your life better. That convenience is the devil. Don't fall for the shit. And water is so important. They're telling you this water ain't pure, man. Purify it yourself if you got to.
But this green grift, it covers so many sectors of your life, from the financial system to real estate to your health to ethical, to your ethics and the way you see things.
Your car, your gas, and you shouldn't be using gas. You should be electric.
Personal property.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You can't maintain that. Why do you need 10 acres? What the fuck? Why do you ask? That's not a real question.
Because it's being self-sufficient. That's why. Because guess what? In this country, I'm allowed these freedoms. And I'm going to exercise those freedoms because my people built this country and it was stolen from part of my family. So guess what? I will exercise these regardless of how you feel about it, because I don't give a shit about your feelings.
Look, this whole labor movement thing is a big deal. You guys need to recognize that if you have enough money, you can remove yourself from society. So it's important that we support these different labor movements, because that's what's going to pay these little people. And it's what holds these companies, these billion-dollar companies.
Starbucks is being sued by a barista who formed a union.
A couple of brothers formed a union at Amazon. John Deere went on strike. They got what they wanted. Kellogg's went on strike for months. I didn't realize they were on strike for like 2 or 3 months. They got what they wanted. That's, this strike thing. When you go against the machine, you can go against the machine. Stop being afraid of it. The machine is not bigger.
Don't get angry at those people when they go on strike. Ask, why are they going on strike?
Yes. Okay. Listen to it. This brother just said some deep shit. And the example I give, this is how dumb people are. Back in the 90s, remember the NBA went on strike. And you had all these white people saying, they're millionaires. These black millionaires. Yes. They were millionaires, but the billionaires stole money from the millionaires. The owners had a contract that said that we give half of our wage, half of the profit to the players. When the players found they were cheating, the players like, hey, you owe us 20%. What did the owners do? The owners locked them out. Those players didn't go on strike. They had to strike because they were locked out of their workplace. So you don't understand, an owner can lock you out. The business, the corporation can lock you out. And if they lock you out, then you have to strike to get your job back. They weren't striking for more money. They were just striking to work. And ever since then, the deal that they got is garbage. I know it's $250 million, sounds like a lot, but it's not based on how much money these black players make for these white owners. Look it up. So be careful how you judge these people. My brother just said, stop being mad at these people for going on strike when they're striking for basic needs. That's all.
Look, beware of the green grift. People are gaslighting you into thinking that you're a carbon criminal. Don't fall for the okie doke. That's all I got. We out. Peace.
Holla back.